Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, sing unto God a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. This is a song that I grew up with in my home congregation up in Colorado, and it's a song. Some of you may know it. I think most of you probably don't know this one yet. If you do, sing loud, sing proud. Nobody else is around you in the seat next to you to hear you sing, unless you're sitting with a loved one, and well, they've put up with you all this time. I think the singing won't turn them off. Lord knows I am sing only with the voice that God gave me, and the louder you sing, the less you have to listen to my singing, which is a good thing for both of us, because you might think I can sing well. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along, all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru shiru l'Adonai, Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. We make our home a sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these words, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to live lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our own turn, sanctify our own sanctuaries to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. Say with me. May holiness wrap around us as we enter our prayer together. We continue together. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the first breath of prayer. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in song. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who have kindled light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Actually, I'm going to move these where they're a little bit more. I guess they're all right. Join with me if you have your own lights at home. This is the time to light those candles and to say the prayer with me. Baruch atah העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we welcome the presence of whatever prayers or heavenly energy or angels or ministering guides from heaven that are present in our world, as we welcome them into our homes and into our hearts, as our connection to heaven illuminates our homes just like the Shabbat candles. Let these wonderful presences, energies, beings from heaven fill our hearts with warm feeling. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish now that we are warmed up for our prayer. Before we enter into our prayer together, we, as a mark of punctuation, recite together the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, baragala u'bizman kariv ve'imeru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'al me'al maya yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ach ve'yitomam ve'yitnaseh ve'yithadar ve'yit'aleh ve'yithalal Shemei d'kudesha berichu לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה בעלמא ואמרו Amen. We rise together for the Baruch Hu. We rise in our hearts, in our homes. If you are able to physically rise, you may physically rise at this time. If it is difficult to physically rise, you may rise in your heart and direct your heart towards God as we join together. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amen. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv ahavim. You keep loving us, as you have always loved us, Adonai our God. You impart to us Torah and mitzvot to know reality and justice. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we are to rest for the night, when we are to rise for the day, we will make your principles our conversation that will give us steady joy as we talk Torah and plan to do mitzvot. This is what we live for. This is what keeps us going day and night. We will ponder their meaning. Just keep on all along loving us. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto If it is your custom to remain standing through the Shema, you may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shitecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshachtam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot ben chinecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Listen, O children who struggle with God. Ours is the God who unites us. in fellowship during times of both joy and difficulty. You shall love this God of yours in the long hours of anxiety, of boredom, of uncertainty, and of fear. You shall love this God of yours with every breath. Breathe, breathe, remember to breathe. And if you have something to give, give. And when you're in need, ask. Be it companionship at a time of isolation or financial support when working has become unsafe. Let words of comfort from our tradition fill your home. Let parents be filled with patience, and let children be filled with compassion. Let the sanctity of your home make your home into a sanctuary. For those who go out to serve on the front lines of health or sustenance, as you bind a face mask or scarf upon your nose and mouth, let the work of your hands be strength, and determination be your mindset. Let all the sacrifices that you must make elevate your sanctuary, and every doorpost of your home be a gate of prayer. Thus you all shall remember that the rules and restrictions we face are holy work, protecting the lives of all those created in the image of God. Your recognition of God's image in your neighbor shall be your redemption, leading all of us out of this narrow place to serve the one as one. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeteinu, uvoenu, l'chaim u'shalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. We rise now for the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom. We continue now in personal prayer and silent meditation. Shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'ase shalom, ya'ase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens let peace descend on us and on all Israel, and let us say, Amen. At this time in our service, we take a moment to say a prayer of healing for all of those in need of God's healing. At this time, we know that there are so many in our community who are still in need of healing, who are still recovering from illness in hospitals or at home. We ask for God to be with all of those who are affected by the pandemic directly with this illness. We ask for God to watch over all of those who are taking care of loved ones in their time of illness, to watch over and protect them and guard their health as well. We ask God to be present with all of those around the world who have been victims of violence or disaster. In particular, this week we are thinking of all of the people of Beirut who have been affected by the terrible industrial accident, which surely for us in Texas recalls the similar, although much smaller, explosion just a few years ago in West Texas. And when we saw the destruction of that our neighbors suffered at that time, it gives us an appreciation of how Israel's neighbors to the north are suffering in this terrible disaster. May God watch over all of those in their time of recovery, whether from physical illness, mental illness, or spiritual illness. In particular, in our own community, we ask for God's healing to be with Tal Hazon, Jacob Hazon, Meir Ben Esther, Joanna Batsara, James Dutremaine, Megan Jasso, Yolanda Easley, Oscar Garcia, Yosef Ben Matilde, Caleb Ben Yaakov Micha, Berto Rivas, Robert Berlin, and Ramiro Rodriguez. In addition to these, we ask for God's blessing of healing to be with all of those who we name aloud in our homes now. And if you know of anybody in our community or in your own circle of concern who you would like to be added to the Mishaberach list, please let me or Maria know each week. At this time, you can say their name of all of those you're praying for aloud, or in your heart. You can post them in the messages in the chat or the comments, as God will hear all of these names as we sing together. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May God's healing presence come swiftly and soon to all of those who are in need of healing as we say together, Amen. Okay, so I'm a little bit late to the trend. It was way back in late March and early April that bloggers and even major print publications with their finger on the pulse began writing articles with titles such as, "Why is everyone suddenly obsessed with sourdough?" Or, Why everyone's suddenly baking bread? Or sourdough is the clear winner of make-at-home quarantine bread. Is everyone's social media covered with pictures of sourdough bread, or is it just mine? The online food blog, The Clever Carrot, calls sourdough the holy grail of homemade breads. Wrong religion, but you get the idea. Now, I confess, I've never attempted to make sourdough myself, but I am fascinated by the process. The heart of sourdough, of course, is the starter. Sourdough starter is a strange concoction that exists at the uncanny intersection of ingredient and household pet. As any avid sourdough bread maker will tell you, sourdough starter is a living thing. It's made of a mixture of flour, wild yeast, and water, a culture of bubbly mush. You can borrow some from a friend who will give you a spoonful of their starter, or you can make your own. Before beginning, you have to feed the starter flour and you have to feed the starter new flour and water for several days, keeping an eye on its health. The strength and health of the starter is the key to the perfect sourdough, or so I am told. Once you have your healthy, active, fluffy-looking starter, then you're ready to begin. Mix the starter with flour, water, oil, and salt to make your dough. Cover with a damp towel and begin a process known as autolyse, which is a resting period that allows the mix to develop properly. This rest is crucial to the taste and texture of the final loaf. Next, you stretch and fold the dough, work the dough into a ball, and then cover it again to allow it to bulk rise. It will double in size at room temperature over a period of anywhere from 3 or 4 to 12 hours, depending on the heat of the day. Finally, you score the top of the dough with a knife to allow it to breathe right before you put it in the oven to bake. Of course, all of this comes with the very important caveat that, as I've said, I have never attempted this and have no idea what I'm doing. What fascinates me even more than the process of making sourdough is the sudden emergence of intense interest in this pastime. Like the bread itself, many incisive articles have been published in recent months examining why it has become so popular a trend. Most of them boil down to a few reasons. The first theory is simply boredom. Everyone who always fancied themselves a baker finally has time to perfect their craft while they're sequestered at home by the quarantine. Looking for something to do all day, every aspiring Martha Stewart out there can easily fill a day, or several, with this wholesome task, and enjoy a delicious treat as a result. However, there's something more to it than that. In times of great turmoil, we often find ourselves longing for a sense of home, that natural, warm, stable feeling that fills our happy memories of childhood. And what could be more homey than fresh-baked bread? As we long for home, we're filled with nostalgia for days gone by. We yearn to return to the days of the distant past when times were simpler, like January. We also seek to cultivate and grow our connection to generations past. When we examine the challenges and horrors of history, knowing what our grandparents and great-grandparents overcame, war, upheaval, and plague, we feel as though we too can overcome the challenges that face us today. And great-great-grandma didn't pick up her bread at H-E-B. Perhaps our greatest longing is just for a simple comfort and the predictability of a process that has been mastered over thousands of years. The strange chemistry and biology involved in the transformation of a chalky powder of ground up wheat into a delicious gluten-filled morsel is complicated, almost magical, well beyond most of our understanding. There's a humility and also a power in being able to harness this time-tested transformation and to turn it to our own intentions. It's a mystery that's beyond our understanding, yet entirely under control. Really, I think the appeal is in our desire to feed and heal the world. A loaf of bread, hear me out, is different from a cupcake or an omelet. It's not meant to be a novelty treat or a single serving. Bread is meant to be combined with other foods, shared, and to provide nourishment to others as well. It's meant to be something which sustains us. This line of admittedly overwrought philosophical musings brings to mind a well-known and oft-quoted line from Akev, this week's Torah portion. Lo al halechem levado yehyeh ha'adam. It is not by bread alone that a person lives. Indeed, every time we say hamotzi, we implicitly recognize that bread is both literal sustenance and a symbolic, spiritual sustenance simultaneously. Perhaps along this trend of making sourdough, there should also be a parallel trend of spiritual development. We could call it spiritual sourdough. What would spiritual sourdough look like? Just like the bread, it begins with the recognition of the living thing that lies at the core of all spiritual activity, the part of each of you that is alive, not biologically alive or quantifiably alive, but alive in the way that really matters is your soul. Just like the sourdough starter, you have to feed your soul too. It takes time and patience feeding your soul, caring for your soul, cultivating your soul, until it can be prepared to grow and thrive. Right now, many of us have all the time in the world, but we are so short on patience, especially with ourselves. Be patient with yourself as you let your soul grow and prepare to be the starter that will go on to sustain those around you. In addition to time, it takes a period of rest in order for things to come out right. Whether we're talking about sourdough or spiritual growth. Many people use meditation, yoga, reading, walking outdoors, or even aerobic exercise. Not me, maybe my sister. To activate a quiet place of rest within themselves where their living soul can begin to rise. Resting is followed by stretching. And I don't mean stretching your muscles, although that's good too. To achieve any kind of meaningful spiritual development, we have to stretch ourselves beyond our comfort, beyond the boundaries of what we believe we are capable. If sourdough bread is a search for the familiar, spiritual growth is a tightrope, connecting the familiar to the unfamiliar, the old to the new, the languid to the novel. Just as stretching is essential to the structure and texture of the bread, stretching ourselves forms the essence of the texture and structure of our lives. Once we stretch, we must again be patient and allow ourselves time to rise and grow and expand. While rest can give us inner peacefulness and reflection, our souls long to expand beyond ourselves. Sometimes it's necessary to grow in confidence and self-assuredness in order to encompass others within the kindness that we cultivated from the start. Finally, there's a process of scoring and baking. For the dough, it surely must be unpleasant. Yet we understand as the baker that it is essential. Perhaps the one whose hands molded and shaped us also possesses an arcane understanding beyond our comprehension of how difficulty and sorrows are essential to the process of becoming what we are meant to be. Surely not all suffering or pain exists only to help us grow. How could we reconcile such an idea with the loving God that we know? But we can be just as sure that growth and spiritual development are made possible through times of trial and fire. And for all that, don't forget an overlooked step in the process: cooling down. The sourdough is not really complete until it has had time to cool, to return to its new normal. Our souls cannot endure the furnace indefinitely, and we too are ready for a period of cooling. We long for spiritual growth just as we long for the comforts of home, but we pray for a relief and an end to the suffering that we see and feel in this world. God, if you are the baker and we are your bread, we're done. Shabbat Shalom. We do have a few announcements with this week's service. There we go, announcements. We have a number of simchas that we are celebrating this week. Including Cecilia Shapiro is celebrating her birthday August 1st. Happy birthday, Cecilia. Ito and Sylvia Deutsch are celebrating their anniversary on August 2nd. I didn't realize that. Happy anniversary. Ken and Ophelia Avarak are celebrating, doctors, I should say, Kenneth and Ophelia Avarak are celebrating their anniversary, August 4th. Natalie Lizka is celebrating her birthday August 4th, as well as Paul Gabriel. Happy birthday to both of you. Juanita Lopez celebrated her birthday August 5th. Bruni Fox celebrated her birthday August 7th, which is today. Happy birthday. As well as Elise Lizka celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to all of you. I hope that all of you who are celebrating simchas this week are celebrating them with family and filled with joy, that it is a celebration. Certainly they will be memorable this year. I hope that they are filled with only joy and no pain. May they be followed by many, many more simchas and many more years of simchas as you celebrate life. Our Torah study, as always, will be tomorrow morning at 9:30. That will be on Zoom. If you check your email, you can join us with the link in Zoom. If you are not receiving our emails for any reason, send me a message and your email address. I can make sure that you're added to the list, or you can send it to any board member or to Maria during the week. That will be followed by our Saturday morning services at 10:30, which you can join as well by Zoom. I hope you'll stay on after the Torah study for the service. That you can also join in at that time on Facebook, YouTube, or streaming, so that you can join us for the Saturday morning service. I think that's all the announcements for this week. As we continue our service, I ask the congregation to rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adom ha'kol, la'teit gedula liyotzeh breshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. There are stars up above so far away that we only see their light long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways to remember. Today we are remembering in our community all of those who have died in recent days, including those who are in a period of Shiva. Eugenio Colon, who died this week, Rabbi Eden Ever Israel Steinsaltz, the great commentator and translator of the Talmud, died earlier today. We are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Charlene Hertz, Sergei Bernier, and Moises Varon. We are in the first year of mourning and saying the mourner's Kaddish for Rhoda Kahn, Carlos Glixman, Beatrice Goldman, Aaron Asensio, Roy Dale, Adelia Asensio, Antonio Diaz, Leon Wernick, Myrna Levin. And we are remembering loved ones on their yard sites, the anniversary of their death. Jeffrey Ira Shapiro, Raymond Geiger, Azucena Wernick, and Florence Croman. To these names we add those names that are in our hearts at this time, all of those who are dear to us, whose memory always fills our thoughts. May their memory all continue to be a blessing. If there is someone in particular that you are remembering at this time, you may post their name or say it aloud or in your heart as we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'l'olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, Shemei de Kudesha Barichu. La'ila min kol bechata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'momav, hu ya'aseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, Amen. We close this service with our song, En Kelohenu, I hope that you will all join with me in this song as we conclude this service and prepare for our Kiddush. I hope you will stick around for our Kiddush and Oneg, our social hour. Lord knows I need social time at the end of the week after all of this time in isolation. So join with me. En Kelohenu, En Kadonenu, En Kemalkenu, En Kemoshi'enu, Michelohenu, Michadonenu, Michemalkenu, Michemoshi'enu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshi'enu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshi'enu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshi'enu. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. This would be the time to make sure that you have your Kiddush cup with you with whatever you prefer to fill it with. If you are enjoying wine or grape juice like me, you'll say Borei Peri Hagafen. Everyone else will say Shehakol Nehiyeh Bidvaro. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei Peri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta V'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinhaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Enjoy your Kiddush, whatever it may be. Stick around for our Oneg. This week, as with every week, I'm leaving you with my phone number. This is my cell phone. It goes right to me, and my email, so that you can contact me. Let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you think about the service, what you hope for in the future, and in particular this week, I want to know what feeds your soul. Let me know either this evening in the Oneg, put it in the chat, in comments. You can share it directly with me, or you can call me or email me with anything that you need or whatever's on your mind at any time during the week. Shabbat Shalom. I will join you for the Oneg in just a moment, and I